the 2019 and 20 awards will be voted and completed before the July 30th NBA restart. So, which player should be the NBA MVP for this season?
Well, give me a drum roll, Clarence. Give me a drum roll, man. Give me a drum roll, please. NBA MVP this season is Mr. LeBron James.
Yo,
he is the NBA MVP again.
Come on,
yes,
man.
17 years in the NBA. LeBron James also is a 3-time NBA champion, 3-time NBA Finals MVP. Mr. LeBron James himself, sir, is your NBA MVP. Ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you why LeBron James is the NBA MVP this year. When you look at LeBron James in the Western Conference, he has the Lakers right now currently first in the West with a 49-14 record. Mm-hmm. And this year, these are LeBron James' statistical numbers. He's averaging 26 points per game, on 50% shooting from the floor, 8 rebounds per game, and 11 assists per game. LeBron James himself is a system, Clarence. And I remember, before we have the NBA shutdown, I remember a weekend series where Giannis and the Bucks strolled into LA, and they strolled into Staples Center. And LeBron James, he balled out on Giannis on that Friday night at Staples Center. You remember that? You remember that? I remember that too. And then I also remember that following Sunday, exactly 48 hours later, maybe not even 48 hours, Kawhi Leonard in a series right across the hallway against LeBron James. In that game, what did LeBron do? He balled out against Kawhi Leonard in that matchup. LeBron James was making a run for NBA MVP honors before the NBA shut down. I believe LeBron James is the NBA MVP, and I believe if you take LeBron James off the Lakers are not a playoff team. Now, let's get to the reverse, because a lot of people think Giannis is the NBA MVP. Let me tell you why Giannis is not the NBA MVP. When I look at the Milwaukee Bucks, I do believe that Giannis is a great individual player, but he's very dominant. He's a dominant player. But just because you're a dominant player, that doesn't make you the most valuable player. When I look at Giannis and what he brings to the table, hold on now. Giannis is balling this year. And obviously he won NBA MVP last year, and I thought they robbed James Harden, but Giannis won MVP last year, so I'll give him his credit. But when you look at the Bucks, I give a lot of that credit for the Bucks' success also to Mike Budenholzer, the head coach of the Milwaukee Bucks. Mike Budenholzer, in his career, he has a 273 and 219 coaching record, which he's won 55% of his games. And when he was in Atlanta, Clarence, he had the Atlanta Hawks in the playoffs 3 out of his 5 seasons being a head coach for the Atlanta Hawks. I believe when I look at the Milwaukee Bucks, I think Mike Budenholzer with Giannis, that's what got the Bucks in the position that they're in, being the number 1 seed in the Eastern Conference. If you take LeBron James off the Los Angeles Lakers, they're not even a playoff team, Clarence. They'll be competing. Hold on, wait a minute. They'll be competing with that A spot with the Blazers, the Grizzlies, and the Pelicans. Without LeBron James, the Lakers would not be at the top of the Western Conference. Without Giannis, I think the Bucks would still be a top 7 seed in the Eastern Conference. They would still be in the playoffs. The floor is yours.
Are you nuts? You must have drunk before you got on the show this morning. Do you? Okay. My MVP for the season, you already know it is. It's Giannis, the Greek freak. Let me tell you this. 1, Giannis got a higher point per game percentage than him. He rebounds more better than him. Only thing he doesn't have more is assists. But he's very effective in the assist game, man. Can't forget this. He's shooting a better field goal percentage from the floor than LeBron. 54, almost 55%. Let me tell you this, Trey. I'll tell you this.
I got some pushback for that point right there, but I'm gonna let you go ahead.
But listen, the Milwaukee Bucks, they're 53-12 in the Eastern Conference Finals. They've been dominating. You hear me? Giannis has been dominating all 57 games that he's played and started. He's been the most dominant force in the NBA. I'm gonna say this. I don't know why you keep thinking if you take LeBron James off that Lakers team, they're gonna fall like ridiculous. I'm gonna say this. It was a game that LeBron they had 15 assists. LeBron had 10 of them 15 assists. You took that away, yeah, the passing with that. But blah blah blah. But think about it, the whole point is this. Giannis is more proven. It was more proven this season to LeBron James because
more proven.
More proven than this season because he led his team on both ends of the floor. He's basically a front runner for Defensive Player of the Year. Then your guy, Anthony Davis, he's the front runner of the Defensive Player of the Year right now, as we speaking right now. I think for Giannis, though, he brings the tenacity to his team. He helps their team plays through him. He is basically the leader of the team. Now, if you took Giannis off that team, I bet my last penny they would not make the playoffs. They would not make the playoffs with Chris Middleton leading. They want to make the playoffs. They're not making no playoffs. If they ever make the playoffs, the highest they probably go is 7. Just because.
Okay, but they'll be a playoff team.
They're not a playoff team.
So if you took LeBron James off the Lakers, do you think the Lakers would be in the playoffs?
Of course.
How? It would basically be Anthony Davis. It would basically be Anthony Davis, just like how he was with the New Orleans Pelicans.
Isn't he considered another superstar? He's considered one of the best superstars in the league.
But would they be championship? What I'm saying is, would they be championship contenders, legitimate championship contenders without LeBron James? No, they wouldn't even be playoff. They would be borderline playoff contenders. I think they'll be competing with Memphis, Portland, New Orleans. Yes, if you take LeBron, what? Look at okay. Ask Anthony Davis how his game. It's easier for him now because he has LeBron James leading the charge.
Anthony Davis
has admitted that his game is much easier now for him to get into the flow of the offense and play because he has LeBron James leading the charge. When you look at the Milwaukee Bucks, I'm not taking nothing away from Giannis. I think Giannis is a great player and he has tremendous upside. I want him to get better at shooting jump shots, but I love Giannis. I think Giannis, once he gets a championship on his resume, we can start talking about Giannis being in that NBA all-time greats conversation. Not there yet because he ain't won a championship. But I'm saying overall, when I look at Giannis, I thought last year, I didn't think Giannis deserved NBA MVP last year, Clarence. If I'm being quite frank with you, I thought James Harden should have won the NBA MVP. But that's just my opinion. This year, I think Mike Budenholzer deserves some of that credit for the Milwaukee Bucks. And also, defensively, you talked about Giannis being one of the best defensive players in the NBA. I agree with you. But let's not forget, Brook Lopez is also a great defensive player for that Milwaukee Bucks team. So that's not acting like it's just all about Giannis on the defensive
Robert.
side.
You mean Robert, man.
Robert, that's what I meant. Robert, that's what I meant. Robin Lopez, yeah. But let's not act like it's all Giannis. That's what I'm saying. I'm not taking nothing away from Giannis. I just think Mike Budenholzer is a great NBA coach. He comes from that San Antonio coaching tree with Greg Popovich. I think Budenholzer is one of the top coaches we have in the NBA. And I think he also is a part of the reason why the Milwaukee Bucks are at the top of the Eastern Conference and also a reason why they're legitimate championship contenders. It's not just Giannis.
Yes, it is, man. It's definitely because of Giannis, man. Giannis affects this team. Giannis make this team better. Who you think brought out Chris Middleton and turned into an all-star player?
So let me ask you a question. Do you not remember Eric Bledsoe? He was a scoring machine with the Phoenix Suns. He's on that Milwaukee Bucks team as well. Eric Bledsoe can create his own shot, can get to the rim, and create other opportunities for others. Eric Bledsoe's not no scrub. Eric Bledsoe is a baller. He can get his own shot and create opportunities for others. Yes.
Eric Bledsoe is good on the defensive side, but an offensive threat, he's okay.
So let me ask you a question. On the Lakers, other than LeBron James, who else on that team is a legitimate playmaker? Rondo is out. Avery Bradley is out. Who else on that team is a playmaker? Who can run the offense and create opportunities for others? LeBron James is a system. That's what I'm saying. Look, how can you say a player that's a system just in himself, in his own play, not be the NBA MVP? That's what I'm asking. How? Who else on that team?
Listen to what you're saying. He needs everything better. LeBron James needs everything better around him. He needs things to click on both sides. Do you honestly believe that he let some of these players play their game? He let them play their game? He wants them to play his game. He wants them to play his game. Like you said, he is the system. For Giannis, he makes players better around him. He brings out that fearless, that killer instinct around players like Chris Middleton. Believe it or not, he's a top 10 player in the NBA. You know why? Because Giannis opened the door for him to score and to have that.
Chris Middleton ain't no top 10 player in the NBA. Chris Middleton ain't no top 10 player in the NBA. We just said on last week's show he ain't top 10.
Yes, but if that's the Bleacher Report, they feel like he's a top 10 player. He's a top 10 player, which we know he's not a top 10 player. But for that Lakers team is actually loaded That Lakers team is
That
actually
Lakers team, oh,
they're
did
loaded.
you just say that Lakers team is oh my God,
That Lakers team is loaded, man.
Did you just say the Lakers are loaded?
They are loaded. They are
So
loaded with experienced players that won championship. Loaded 3-and-D players. Loaded with big men. They're loaded with enough experience to go to the playoffs. They is. Without LeBron, they is a top 5.
Why do I have to talk basketball? Why do I have to talk basketball? I'm gonna tell Jordan. I'm gonna tell Jordan to ban you from talking basketball. We can't talk basketball no more.
You need to watch what you say, man. Talk about if one player is this one player.
Did you just say the Lakers are loaded?
The Lakers are loaded with experience, man. They got enough killers. Deion Waiters.
If you was in front of me, I'd be throwing this water on you. What are you?
Listen, they are loaded. They are loaded. They're a team that's underrated. That's underrated. That's full of loaded scorers, defenders, even playmakers on that team, man.
Let me ask you a question, okay? So you picked the Lakers to win a championship, right? Correct.
Yeah, correct.
So you picked the Lakers to win a championship, but you've also agreed with me about the fact that the Clippers are really a more deeper team than the Lakers, correct?
But the Lakers are more experienced than the Clippers.
So now you said experience, you said it loaded. When I hear loaded, I'm thinking that deep. I'm thinking like they got numbers and they got superstars and power on their team. I think loaded.
No, but they're see now you're taking my words and twisting them up now. I'm just saying they're loaded. They're loaded with players that have experience that go in deep into the playoffs.
Then say experience. Don't say loaded. Say they loaded with. They got players that got experience, not loaded. Okay. That's all I'm saying.
You can say it. You can make a difference, though, Trey. You can make a difference.
Okay. Now let's get to the next question on this topic. The next question is: do you think the NBA should change the MVP voting until the end of the playoffs, rather than doing it before the playoffs start? Do you think they should wait and do it at the end of the playoffs and after the champion is crowned?
See, Trey, man, I think this will be a controversial thing, man. I think this will be crazy. It will get out enough. I truly believe you will see the top players play their hearts out for this MVP trophy, Defensive Player of the Year. They go just prove to them like, hey, I'm the MVP. Forget about this bubble. I'm gonna show you that I'm the real MVP. I think the competition will get intense. Every single 8 games, every last of them 8 games, them games will be intense. Them games will be so intense for the fact. Your fans will be like MVP, yelling MVP, but we already know who is the MVP. But I think they shouldn't change the MVP vote until the end of the playoffs because because this is a seasonal award. This is a seasonal award, and if you give them it, and if you take away like their success in the season, then that trophy won't mean nothing. That won't mean nothing.
Yeah, I agree with you. I don't think they should change the NBA MVP voting to the end of the playoffs. I think they should do it right at the end of the regular season before the playoffs. Yeah. Is it a seasonal award? So it's an NBA season award. So it should be just for the NBA season alone. But I will say this. I believe they should add an NBA playoff MVP award. I would love to see that because last year, Kawhi Leonard would have won the NBA playoff MVP award because last year in the playoffs, Kawhi Leonard balled out. He balled out leading the Toronto Raptors to the NBA championship and ultimately beating the Golden State Warriors. But Giannis won the MVP throughout the regular season last year. But guess who got exposed in the Eastern Conference Finals last year? Giannis. Back to Kawhi Leonard. And that Toronto Raptors defense. Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying. So that's Giannis won the NBA regular season MVP last year, but I think Kawhi Leonard would have been the NBA playoff MVP. So I think they should add an award as well to this. Like add an award, Adam Silver in the NBA, add an NBA MVP playoff award for whichever player plays the best throughout the course of the NBA playoffs. So I agree with you about the NBA regular season award and MVP being just a regular season award, but they should add another award as well.
If you add another award to this playoffs, this has got to be the exception because of this pandemic. Now, I don't see them adding like too many awards, but the playoff MVP, that would be good enough. That'll be good enough. And I think that should get like break it down to the two teams that's in the finals right now. They're competing. You win the finals MVP plus the playoffs MVP. So I like that. I like that little idea. I really like that idea, Trey.